and there's a knock on the door. And you open the door and there's this person, and this person says that he's lost and he's hungry and he doesn't have a place to stay. So you invite him in, you offer him food, you offer him a place to stay because, Ubuntu. And you're more than willing to do this, you person moves in and everything, and you wake up the next day and this person has a gun, and this person says to you, I need you to move out of the main bedroom, and I'm moving into the main bedroom.
Why is South Africa called the Rainbow Nation? Of all the names on earth, why Rainbow Nation? Why not something else?
So imagine you're sitting in your house now, like you're just chilling and you're comfortable, you're enjoying your food. It's a nice night, you're just sitting at home and there's a knock on the door. And you open the door and there's this person, and this person says that he's lost and he's hungry and he doesn't have a place to stay. So you invite him in, you offer him food, you offer him a place to stay because, Ubuntu. And you're more than willing to do this, you person moves in and everything, and you wake up the next day and this person has a gun, and this person says to you, I need you to move out of the main bedroom, and I'm moving into the main bedroom. And I need you to continue going to work. Only difference now is that a lot of the money that you're going to earn is going to come to me. And you want to fight for your family, and you don't have much to fight with because they've got guns. So you continue to work and they continue to take from you, and you obviously try and look for someone to help you, and it turns out that the same thing happened to your neighbor and your neighbors. And you go about your life, and one day the police come and the police say, you know what, guys, this is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. And we need you guys to now live in perfect harmony. You guys are now a Rainbow Nation. The only difference now is that you will not get your main bedroom back, and you will continue to work for these people that came into your house, that took the main bedroom, and that profited off your hard work. And you go about your life because this is the new law, and you continue to do this, and your kids grow up and they find out that you used to live in the main bedroom, because they wonder why it is that this is supposed to be our house, but why is it that we don't live in the main bedroom? And if this is our house, why is it that we get the least in this house? Can you see where the problem is? There's a major problem. So for white South Africa, think that they can continue to say things like, but we are a Rainbow Nation, you guys need to forgive and forget. No, we are not old enough to be able to say that we going to forgive and forget. Our grandmothers and grandfathers are still alive. Your grandfathers and your grandmothers are still alive. And the fact that they were one day called bus And my grandfather and father was called Kafir. We did not forget. And no, this is not a rainbow nation.
I think South Africa is too diverse. I don't think this thing of rainbow nation is what's best to take us forward. I do think the country needs to be split. You look at China, you look at the Middle East.
Every time Penuel appears on my FYP, I just know I'm about to hear rubbish. And congratulations to him. He's done it again. China doesn't have one culture. There's over 50 ethnic groups in the country. The Middle East isn't one culture either. We already tried separating this country before. That system had a name. Let's focus on China. You don't need to like Mao Zedong to admit he's one of the greatest leaders in history. Before Mao, China was colonized and exploited by foreign powers, exactly like Africa. But Mao refused to allow the 50 ethnic groups in China to remain divided. He united them into one powerful nation. That's why no Western empire can ever bully China, the same way they bully African and Arab countries. Our borders were drawn by Europeans, who carved up this continent like a cake, leaving behind dozens of small and weak countries that can't resist exploitation, even if they wanted to. Should a country like Burkina Faso, with a GDP smaller than Gauteng, even be considered a sovereign country? How long do you think Burkina Faso can resist Western pressure? The US just kidnapped the president of Venezuela. You think they can't do the same to Ibrahim Traore if they wanted to? The solution to Africa's problems has always been Pan-Africanism. We are easier to exploit when we are divided. The sad thing is, Africa did produce leaders similar to Mao Zedong. We had Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi. Every one of them pushed for African unity, and every one of them was assassinated. Diversity has never been the problem. South Africa's problem is ignorance. It's people like Penuel who use their platform to spread misinformation and division in a country that desperately needs unity. South Africans are being misled by corrupt politicians and xenophobic vigilante groups into fighting the wrong enemy. You do not need cultural similarity to be united. You just need a shared political vision. And the majority of South Africans, black and colored, agree on one thing. We want land reform. We want equality. We want a society where the resources serve the country's citizens. But this country is being held back by 7% of the population. The same 7% who own all the land and occupy 60% of top management positions. The same 7% who ran to the United States to lie about experiencing a genocide. They want to preserve their wealth at the expense of everyone else, hoarding resources which were inherited from the same people who treated our parents and our grandparents like animals.
Why is South Africa called the Rainbow Nation? Of all the names on earth, why Rainbow Nation? Why not something else? To some people, the names sound gay. But let's call it spade a spade here. South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation because of the diversity. You see, such diversity could easily destroy a country. We watched Rwanda burnt down. We watched Sudan split into two. Nigeria today is shaky because of their inability to maintain their diversity. What about Yugoslavia? Yugoslavia scattered. But I digress. The diversity in South Africa is dangerous if it is not properly maintained. But South Africans, black South Africans precisely, they proved the world wrong. Because after Apartheid, people expected black South Africans to burn down South Africa. So South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation. Mind, it was coined by Desmond Tutu. Okay, so South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation because South Africa is one of the most diverse societies on earth. This is a country where you find Germans, offspring of Dutch people, offspring of the British that settled in South Africa in early centuries. Yes, this is a country where you find Indians, Chinese, the Jewish, Zulu, and other tribes. They are coexisting together. This is what makes South Africa unique. This is why South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation. When you look at China, China is big, no doubt, but I can tell you categorically that up to this day, the Chinese government is steadily going after Islamic worshippers. So there is religious disparity in China. Don't let the media fool you that China is living in 24th. No disrespect. But if the Chinese government today faces the same diversity that South African government is facing, I'm pretty sure that the government of China will not be able to maintain it. Yes, because the level of diversity in South Africa is something that you don't see anywhere else. Yes, what is it called? United States can be compared to South Africa when it comes to racial diversity. That is the difference. We are talking about racial diversity here, not just ethnic groups, not just a religious group. We are talking about racial diversity. The racial diversity in South Africa is unimaginable. Yet, they managed to maintain peace. When you look at India today, as big as India, as overpopulated as India, there is religious disparity. There is economic disparity. One of the most barbaric systems in human history still exists in India today, the caste system. And not just that, in India, Islamic worshippers are not allowed to move freely without the government of India interfering. So the diversity in India is not properly maintained. But in South Africa, the Rainbow Nation is not just about unity. It is the fact that South Africans figured it out. They figured out a way to manage their tensions. They figured out a way to control their chaos. They figured out a way to get along with each other. So South Africans, they chose, peaceful coexistence over vengeance. Mandela said it better. If we go for revenge now, we are going to destroy the future. So we must forgive so we don't destroy the future. That is what Mandela said. This is why South Africa is unique compared to any other African countries. Rainbow Nation. Rainbow is not just a color. And by the way, when you look at rainbow, it is not about peace. It is not a symbol of peace only. Rainbow represents, strength after the storm. South Africa went through the storm. They survived. Okay? When you look at rainbow, when rainbow appears in the sky, every color stay put. Every color shine. Every color represents itself. No, not one color is shining above the other color. Not one color is hiding for other color to shine. So each color represents its identity. When you look at rainbow properly, you would understand what I'm talking about. And that is exactly what South Africa represents. This is a country with 11 official languages, if I'm not mistaken. This is to show you that in South Africa, every group, every ethnicity, every race is included. Okay? Nothing like you don't belong here, you are this, you are that. Everyone is important in South Africa. Every race, every group. This is why South Africa is unique. So it's not just about South Africa being called Rainbow Nation. It is what South Africa represents. That is why South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation. This is not to say that the Rainbow Nation is 100% perfect, but it's better than ashes because experts predicted the blood flow in South Africa. Experts predicted that after the Apartheid, black South Africans are going to burn down South Africa. But look at South Africa today. Black South Africans chose healing over hatred. Yes. Peaceful negotiation over vengeance. Yes. Infrastructure over chaos. Dialogue over destruction. And like I said, today South Africa is not perfect, but South Africa is a proof that diversity does not kill a nation. Injustice does. If the systems are fair, the people will tolerate differences. But if the systems fail, anything can be weaponized. Race, tribe, religion, politics can be weaponized in a society where the systems fail. Yes. And please pay attention. I'm not saying that South Africa today is a perfect country, but South Africa today is a proof that the future belongs to those that choose peaceful coexistence over dominance. And South Africans were able to navigate this by applying emotional intelligence. And this is what makes South Africa and Nigeria different. The people, okay? The people. In Nigeria today, there is serious struggle for dominance, social dominance, political dominance, cultural dominance among the three major tribes in Nigeria. Our inability to maintain our diversity is the reason why we are struggling as a nation. So Nigeria must learn from South Africa. Yes, the name Rainbow Nation is not just poetry. It's a warning, it's a miracle. Okay? It's a lesson. White minority ruled South Africa violently, land stolen, family destroyed. So many things. But black South Africans decided to go with peaceful coexistence rather than going for revenge. This is why South Africa is thriving today. And that is why you find Nigerians, Somalis, Zimbabweans in South Africa. If black South Africans had chosen vengeance, nobody would blame them. Yes. Because that is what experts expected them to go for revenge. But they said, no, if we don't forgive, we will destroy the future. Today, South Africa is the most diversified country in Africa. When you talk about real diversity, from race to religion to culture, yes. So yes, South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation because South Africa is the most diversified African country and one of the most diversified societies on earth. Thank you for watching and stay blessed.